The Not So Great Outdoors contains stories of a graphic nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
The outdoors are great, except when they're not.
Welcome to the Not So Great Outdoors. We're your guides. I'm Seth.
And I'm Piff, and this week we're discussing the mysterious disappearances of Mary Margaret Begay and Ida Mae Lee. Dun dun dun. But before we do that, I have to tell you something.
I'm ready.
Okay, so last night, sorry everybody, this is going to be a long tangent. You can just skip forward if you don't want to hear it. It's like 5 minutes.
Fast forward. Really? Wow. That'll be like our longest pre-show tangent.
It will not. Our longest one is on serial killer Ivan Milat. It was a 15-minute tangent.
Holy crap. Just hit skip 30 seconds a couple times.
Yeah, this won't be more than 5 minutes.
Timer. Go.
Okay, so last night I was driving back to Kentucky from Ohio in the middle of the night. First of all, it's foggy as fuck. So I am
foggy as fuck.
On the lookout because I don't want to hit an animal, anything.
Cars without their headlights because people are dumb.
The road suddenly turning without proper signage. I just am trying to make it home. Yeah. And so I go through the small town that is closest to where we live. And as I'm coming out of the small town, there is a woman in a white dress, like a gown.
You gotta be kidding me!
Like a cult gown on the side of the road. It's like T-length, almost floor length, but not quite. Baggy, like a cult robe. White. This woman. And she is frantically waving her arms on the side of the road.
Do not tell me you stopped.
No, because I'm not an idiot.
Okay.
But I slow down because I'm like, maybe there's something in the road that she doesn't want me to hit. Because I can see she's got like a vehicle on the other side of the road. So I'm like, maybe.
Just on my way to my cult sacrifice, could you give me a jump, please? So
I slow down because I don't want to hit whatever I think she's like waving me on. She's still frantically waving, like, stop, 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 stop. And I, at this point, have realized there is nothing in the road. It is a clear fucking road. Right. So I just drive by, and I'm like, this is how people get kidnapped. She's just in there in her cult robe, waving her arms. And I needed to share that with you on the question.
If she were wearing like a hoodie and jeans, would you have stopped?
If there weren't two men with her, probably, because she's a singular woman.
That's a fact you did not share.
I know, I was getting to it.
Absolutely not. Also, sorry to that woman if like you genuinely needed help.
But like you were in a town.
Also, yeah.
And there was cell signal, like call 911.
Yeah.
I don't need to help you. I'm sorry, I'm not getting abducted today.
No, stay alive.
Oh, see, that was only 3 minutes. We're fine.
We're fine.
But I just needed to tell you that. All right. Are you ready to get in to what we're doing today?
I am ready.
All right. I have a lot of background information.
Okay.
Because it's me. We should have expected this.
Yes.
It is the end of November when this comes out. And as stated in our last episode, we wanted to take this month, Native American Heritage Month. I can talk.
Whoa. It almost sounded like you said naked, and I was like, what?
Actually, this is Naked American.
Naked and Afraid on a podcast. That would not be an entertaining podcast.
No, that's a very visual format.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm good.
Native American Heritage Month to put a light on indigenous people and their stories. So the day that our last episode aired, there was actually some fun Native American news in our country. So Charles Chuck Sams III was confirmed as the new National Park Service Director, and he is the first Native person to hold this position.
That's
so
awesome.
It's super exciting. He was unanimously confirmed by the Senate, and according to the Associated Press, quote, he also said he would work to ensure the indigenous history of the National Park Service lands is broadly reflected, in addition to incorporating indigenous views and knowledge in decision-making. He said it is important to work with Native Americans on traditional ecological knowledge based on 10,000 plus years of management of those spaces to ensure that they'll be here for future generations to enjoy. End quote.
Awesome.
So I'm really excited to see like what work he does and to be able to like really tap into that indigenous knowledge of like the land. Because as we all know, this land is not our land. This is their land. And in reference to that, I found a website, and I suggest everybody goes to this website. It's native-land.ca, like Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives information about what Native people's land you are on. So you can type in like a city or like a national park, for example, and you can see what indigenous tribes originally inhabited that land.
Huh. That's cool.
And then you can also then look into those tribes and learn some more stuff about those peoples. So I looked up Louisville because I was going to do it anyway. So I figured I'd look it up and share on the podcast to find what tribal lands we're on.
Yeah.
So, and before I say these, I Googled so hard. So I'm doing my best at pronouncing
these. Is this
these.
the pronunciation that you asked me about? Like, how would you pronounce this?
No, that one's later. These are actually the easiest names I have to say this entire time. But if at any point in this episode, if I say something wrong, I Googled so much to and gave myself little phonetic guides on pronunciation, but just let me know if I said something wrong.
We're doing our best out here.
I am doing my best. So these are the lands that we are currently on in Louisville, Kentucky. We are on the lands of the Hopewell,
okay,
the Shawnee,
okay,
and the Osage.
Okay. Cool.
So, and obviously it shows you like very specific, like where you click.
Mm-hmm.
So, you could click around and you could be like, oh, but there's also this one or there's also this one. But those three were like most of the area. So there are a couple others that like trickle in on different sides of Louisville. But those are the tribal lands that we're on.
That's so neat.
Yeah. So I recommend everybody look up and see what tribal lands you're on. And as we should all know, there is a big discrepancy in not only how prevalent violent crimes are towards indigenous people, but that unlike most races, indigenous people are more likely to be victims of people outside of their race. We discussed this last year in our November episode, so if you want to know all of the specific stats on that, please go listen to last year's Thanksgiving episode. But this year, I have some new and terrible information for you.
Ugh. I feel like you're always full of new and terrible information.
I mean, that's kind of my thing.
I don't know, though. The Park Service thing, that was new and great information.
That was new and great information.
That was not terrible.
So, a little good, a lot of bad.
'Tis the life of a true crime podcaster.
'Tis the season.
Yes. The it's a Hercules line, but the audio going around on TikTok that's like, so how are things in the underworld? It's like, oh, they're just fine, a little dark, a little gloomy, and full of dead people. What are you gonna do? It's just like, yep. A little dark, a little gloomy, and
full of dead people.
What are you gonna do? Anywho, okay. New and terrible information. Let's go.
And this is where we take a somber tone because this is very serious.
Okay.
We have no idea how many missing and murdered indigenous women there are in the United States.
None.
And I am going to say that again with a little bit more information. Because of a lack of reporting and misclassification of victims, we currently do not know how many missing and murdered indigenous women there are in our country. For example, if you wanted to know how many missing white girls there were, you can find that number. It's pretty reliable. But I found a study. The study will be linked in the blog. Highly recommend everybody go read it. So, and I'm just going to give you some information to shed more light on how prevalent this issue is. So, according to a 2018 study by the Seattle Indian Health Board, there were 5,712 cases of missing and murdered indigenous women and girls, and only 116 were logged into the Department of Justice's database. In that same study, they were only able to identify 506 actual cases, meaning that law enforcement had an open case for these, again, 5,712 missing women.
Only how many cases?
506. The youngest victim was a baby less than 1 year old.
Oh.
With the oldest being an 83-year-old woman.
And this is nationwide.
In our country, yeah. And so that was just, they did a micro study. And again, the whole study is linked in the blog. I highly recommend that everybody read it. But the blatant neglect in these cases is really staggering. Some things that they would see is like when Native women and girls were being reported missing, instead of like opening a case, the officers would just like be like, okay, I'll like keep an eye out and put it up in their head, and there'd be no documentation of it. They'd be like, I remember. And then, yeah, so it was like super unreliable. There was also like some of the systems, if you don't input a race, it defaults to white, which is problematic in of itself, but it was taking a lot of missing natives and classifying them as whites, which if you have a missing person, knowing the correct race is kind of helpful.
Yeah. And that's terrible for two reasons. Like, it's terrible for many reasons, but like the big thing is like it skews the number of missing white women upward. And also, like you said, if you're looking for this person, it is important to know the correct ethnicity.
Yeah. What they look like.
You need to know what they look like.
To be on the lookout for a missing person.
Yes.
So I'm going to end this section about our new and terrible fact with a long quote from the end of that study that effectively summarizes the overarching message of the entire study. Quote, the lack of good data and the resulting lack of understanding about the violence perpetrated against urban American Indian and Alaska Native women and girls is appalling and adds to the historical and ongoing trauma American Indian and Alaska Native peoples have experienced for generations. But the resilience of American Indian and Alaska Native women and girls has sustained our communities for generation after generation. As the life bearers of our communities, they have been integral to holding strong our culture and traditional practices. Bringing to light the stories of these women through the data is an integral part of moving forward toward meaningful change that ends this epidemic of violence. UIHI is taking huge steps to decolonize data by reclaiming the indigenous values of data collection, analysis, and research for indigenous people by indigenous people. Our lives depend on it. End quote. So again,
it's terrible. They have to.
Yeah.
It's awesome how they're doing it.
I really recommend everybody. It's not like, so the study was done in like the final report is kind of like a presentation. So it's very easy to digest.
Doesn't read like data.
Yeah, it's not like if you don't have a data mind, you're going to not understand it.
Good.
And it's like 12 pages, and that includes like infographics and photos.
Pictures. Good.
So that link is in our blog. I really recommend that everybody read it because I think, again, just like last year when we were appalled at all of those stats, this is just another appalling stat, and we should be doing better. And you can't do better if you don't even know that it's happening.
Yeah. Once you know better.
Exactly. On a lighter note.
I was going to say.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this podcast is hosted by one science person. And guess who that is?
It's me. My degree's in math. Fun fact.
My degree is in multimedia communication.
We're very different. But it means we bring different talents, so. On a lighter note, I have an Instagram account to recommend to everybody.
Okay.
It is at Native Women's Wilderness on Instagram. They also have a website, probably other things, but I'm like a millennial, so I like Instagram, so that's where I went. But their website is nativewomenswilderness.com, I believe, or .org.
It's in the blog.
It's in the blog. But their mission is, quote, to inspire and raise the voices of Native women in the outdoor realm, to encourage a healthy lifestyle within the wilderness, to provide education of the ancestral lands and its people, end quote. And first of all, Instagram account, 10 out of 10. You want aesthetic outdoorsy photos? Go follow them. But also at the same time, you are now diversifying your feed. So you see people that aren't just, like that don't just look like us on your outdoors feed, because most of them look like us. But so there's an Instagram account. Go follow it. Super great. Okay. Now we're going to get into my actual case. Well, cases. There are two.
Cases.
They're linked.
Okay.
In my opinion, they're linked anyway.
Okay.
We are going to Grand Canyon National Park.
Woo! I have never been.
Me either. It's on my list. Well, all the
Let's go.
parks are on my list. Everything is on the list.
Also, I'm sorry, y'all. Side tangent. Guess what board game? Piff, you don't get to guess.
Oh.
Guess what board game we're gonna play?
We're the only people
weekend.
here.
No, I know. I'm giving them a moment to.
Okay.
I'm giving them a moment to participate in their car or wherever it is that they are, wherever they listen.
DM us.
Kim at your desk, wherever. But we're gonna play National Parks Monopoly.
I'm
Piff
excited.
has never played it, and she loves Monopoly.
Just for the record, I've played regular Monopoly. I
No,
just needed to
Never
make
played
everybody
that version.
know.
Has never played that version.
Yeah. No, I saw it at a National Park gift store and I was like, I need that. But then it was $50 and I didn't have $50. So
we bought it when my family went to Mammoth Cave.
So we are going not underground, but into a giant hole still. Grand Canyon National Park.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a giant hole.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
I already forgot
in
this
the
was
1950s.
1950s.
Yes.
All right.
So, again, because it is Native American Heritage Month, we're going to talk about the lands that the Grand Canyon
Piff,
National
I'm sorry,
Park
Piff,
is on.
There's a spider on your microphone. There's
on
a
my
spider
microphone?
on your microphone.
Oh, it's just a little baby.
I know, but I just needed you to know. Don't touch it. Oh my god. Oh
What do
my
you
god.
mean don't touch? I can't just leave it there.
No, you can take the windsock off and go knock it off in the corner or something. Don't touch it. I mean, you can touch it if you want, but if it jumps over here, I'm
It's not
done.
gonna leave.
It might. Listen, cave guy, don't do spiders. This cave guy, don't do spiders. If there's tourists around, I can handle it.
Oh my god.
Better than I'm handling this currently, but not. Oh my god, you're touching.
Yeah, I just.
Okay, you get it off your microphone so gently.
Yeah, I didn't want to
Just
kill
to
it
kill it
on my microphone.
You could have flicked it.
Yeah,
but
and then
you
it would have
wouldn't know where it
flowed
was.
onto you.
No, you could have flicked it this way and pew, flick it towards the camera.
It was fine.
Oh, it's fine.
Well, that was dramatic.
Would you have rather I not told you that there was a spider
it would
on
have
your
been
microphone?
It would have been a different kind of funny if I would have realized it later, as it came around the mic and I was
You'd
trying.
be like, oh,
yeah, it would have just been a different type of entertaining.
Looked over because you were talking, and I can't not turn my head in this podcast, which is half the reason why my audio is always worse than yours. And then I saw it move, and I was like, and I don't know how long it's been there. I don't know when it got there, because I was looking over at you, and there's no way it was there the whole time.
It was probably making its way
went
around, or
yeah,
up
or,
the
fell.
back.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Worse, fell from the ceiling.
That is worse. Let's not think about that one.
Ugh.
So the Grand Canyon.
So the Grand Canyon, giant hole in the ground.
Giant hole in the ground. So we're going to talk about the peoples that originally inhabited this area and still inhabited. I added a syllable.
Inhabited.
Inhabited.
I like that better.
It's fine. And a lot of these peoples actually still live in the area, but they don't live in well, I don't want to say that. A lot of these people still live in the area, but it is a national park. So the nations who originally inhabited. God damn it! I don't know. I can't read this. Okay. The nations
inhabited.
I just know that I have very hard things to say, so now I can't even say inhabited.
There you go.
That's what's happening.
You did it.
I'm so focused on saying these people's names correctly that I can't read English now.
You can do it. 3, 2, 1, go.
The nations who originally inhabited this area were the Hopi, Havasupai,
There you go.
Pueblos,
Yes.
and the Hualpai.
There you go.
There we go. I
Good
got it.
job. I believe it. I believe that is the correct pronunciation.
I watched so many, I was trying to find people on TikTok who are in these tribes that say the names. I was searching through the hashtags of each tribe today to hear them say it so that I could then write a phonetic thing that made sense to me. So hopefully I said those right. And if I didn't, just let me know. I'm sorry.
Because when Googling this word pronunciation, you can get a million hits and none of them be right.
And a lot of times you just get the Google auto voice, and that's always wrong. It's always wrong.
No, was pretty spot on with mine last week.
Okay,
actually.
well, it's a lot of the times wrong.
Most of the time it is incorrect.
So Grand Canyon National Park was designated as one of the now 63 national parks in 1919. It is the second most visited national park with approximately 6 million visitors per year.
Is Yellowstone the first?
No, Great Smoky Mountains National Parks is the
that
first.
That makes sense. Love the
Also,
Smokies.
fun fact, Great Smoky Mountain National Park is one of the only free-to-visit national parks.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
The more you know.
Whoa.
I knew you were going to do it. I could see it on your face. I was like, hold on, I can do this.
Hold on. Am I that predictable?
Sometimes. Not all the time.
I'm a little sad about that.
But sometimes.
A little sad.
I spend a lot of time with you.
You do.
Okay. Missing women.
Yeah.
So both of our missing women were working at local hotels in the park when they vanished without a trace. And because of everything we just discussed and have discussed on other episodes, there is unfortunately not a lot of information about these women or what happened to them. So now it's time to look at the drive because we have our first victim. So first we're going to discuss Ida. So we have a photo of Ida. Ida Mae Lee, originally Ida Mae Costello.
Oh, she's so pretty.
Was a Navajo woman. She met her husband in the 1940s on a Hopi reservation, and the pair were married on September 26th, 1950.
Listen, December 26th?
September.
Oh, I was like, never mind. Still a good day. But there's just something about the 1950s hairstyle.
Oh, yeah.
I just love it.
So upon their marriage, they moved to the Grand Canyon area to start their life together. They had 4 children together in a relatively small time frame, as in 1953, her husband re-enlisted in the Army to serve as a medic, which to me means that they had 4 kids between 1950 and 1953, which means she was very pregnant for 4 years.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
Maybe she had twins.
She could have. That's still very pregnant.
Still very pregnant.
But
it's like double pregnant.
Yeah. Don't want it, but good for you.
Good.
Glad you were happy.
I don't want that many close.
I don't want that many. End of sentence.
Also, period. Yeah. That.
So, while her husband was away on military duty, Ida worked, or allegedly worked, depending on where you look, at the El Tovar Hotel, which was a
So you go ahead.
RV hotel. You look like you have a question.
I feel like you're going to answer it, though.
Do you want to know what a Harvey hotel was?
Yes.
Yes. That's my next sentence.
And I want to know allegedly. Like, why allegedly?
Well, so some people say she worked there, and then other people say, like, it seems that she worked there because, like, the clothes that in the picture looked like the uniform, but then there weren't records, and it was the 1950s, and everything was sketchy, so, like, maybe she worked there.
Okay. I was like, don't we have records of these things? But I guess not.
I just wanted to, like, cover my bases.
Yeah.
You know?
She either worked or allegedly worked.
Yes. So Harvey hotels. So these hotels were all owned by the same overarching company, and it was actually one of the first companies to hire women to work in service roles, which sounds really progressive for the time until you're told what type of women they were looking for. Specifically, according to Medium.com, quote, looking to hire women between ages of 18 to 30 of good moral character, attractive, and intelligent. Starting wages $17.50 per month with room and board included. End quote.
$17.50.
$17.50. Hold on.
Right, but isn't it though? Like at that time?
So $17.50 per month, and I did an online.
Oh, never mind.
I did an online inflation calculator, and that is about $180.61 in 2021 money.
Just kidding.
For the record, I made more bi-weekly as a summer camp counselor, and my room and board was also included there. So
yeah. No, I was like, oh, like each time they got paid. So that's like every 2 weeks. Like, okay, no. Even then, that's kind of like, no. But
yeah.
What do I know?
Monthly. So there's that. Additionally, original ads only allowed the hiring of white women, which was expanded to include other races later. Because Does this surprise anybody? I don't think it should.
No.
So, additionally, some sources indicate that working at a Harvey hotel, while it was one of the only ways young women could make their money outside of like the home, like one of the only places that was hiring women, it wasn't a great place to work.
No. A working woman in the 50s? No.
You can't have it. So according to a medium.com article, quote, not only did these waitresses provide pleasant, efficient service, but in the early years of Harvey's enterprise, at least, they were often the only single young women for miles around.
Oh.
That in of itself would have been a draw, even if the food hadn't been up to snuff, end quote. So as we can guess, harassment and unwanted advances were just part of the Harvey Hotel experience.
Disgusting. Men are
and keep in mind, so Ida at this point is married.
With children.
She has 4 children. But she's working at this hotel because, like, you gotta work, you gotta feed the 4 children. And this is what she's likely having to deal with on a daily basis. And then it just gets worse.
Okay.
So on an undetermined day in either 1955 or in November of 1956, Ida's 4 children were found abandoned in a small building near the rim of the Grand Canyon. Their parents were nowhere to be found.
Well, no wonder. The dad is in the military.
And their mom has been taken.
Yes.
Well, that's my suspicion. But anyway. I'm going to move on.
Okay.
With the disappearance of this woman. She would have been 25 at the time.
Oh,
that's my
gosh.
next sentence.
I cannot imagine having 4 children at the current age I am. I am not 25, but I'm close. Oh my Lord. No.
Okay. Not only did she have 4 children, she was married at like 20. By the time she's 25, she's had 4 children, been harassed pretty much every day at work, and now she's gone into thin air. So
she would have been 25. So she would have already had at least 3 kids. One might be younger. One might be like not even 1 yet, but like still. Children, not even child.
Children. Multiples.
At my current point in life. Oh.
Yeah.
Scares me.
So at the time of Ida's disappearance, the children's father appears to have been on military duties, although this was not confirmed, and some people speculated that like he came back and like, but
peace out.
It looks like he was out on military stuff at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But also kind of sketchy, he remarried on September 7th, 1955.
The husband did it.
Which was either very soon after his first wife disappeared or while she was still living in the Grand Canyon National Park in their house with their children. So that's questionable.
He did it. The husband did it.
We have another thing, though, that's related. So, like, maybe.
Husband did it or some sleazebag from the hotel did it.
So either way, it's suspicious, right?
Yeah.
And just keep in mind that these were like toddlers left in basically a shack. So no records indicate that the couple ever filed for divorce, nor was she legally declared dead. And the literal only other information about her that I could find was from an online forum where people discussed cold cases. And one person said that they think that they had DNA from her, but the link to the source that they were trying to link to was broken. So that may or may not be true. They might have her DNA. They might not.
Well, Anna was the 50s. I mean, DNA wasn't even like.
But now it's the 2020s. So if somebody had collected it, because a lot of times
they could use it now.
Yeah, back in the day, they would like collect it and they're like, we probably could use this in the future. I don't know.
I don't know if they had that mindset in the 50s, though, did they?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I know that in our other case, they do have DNA. So that's why I'm like, maybe.
Okay, maybe.
So our next case.
Yes. Wait, that's it? We don't have anything else?
No.
Oh, wait, but you did say they were connected.
They're connected.
They seem to be connected.
In my opinion, they're connected.
Okay, but still, wow, infuriating.
Yes.
I don't care what race they are. If there is absolutely nothing, it's infuriating. Yeah. And that's how it should be. Like, it doesn't matter who it is.
It's almost like we should be investigating when people get murdered or go missing.
get
murdered or go missing.
I literally just about said
the same thing I did.
Get missing or go murdered.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yep.
It's fine. We can talk.
It's the Monday of a short week.
Yep.
Woo.
So, our second case revolves around another Navajo woman who was also working at a Harvey hotel in the park.
But not the same one.
A different one.
Okay.
When she went missing just 2 years later.
Okay.
So, Mary Margaret Begay, we have a photo.
Okay. Also, Ida Mae, Mary Margaret. I love these names.
So, she was also suspected to be working at a Harvey hotel in 1957, albeit a different hotel. And again, suspected because people have theories, but it seems like she worked there. At only approximately 20 years old, it was thought that Mary was living in a Harvey house, the dormitories provided for the hotel waitstaff.
Why do I feel like those were horrible?
Well, they were separated by sex, so it was just like a dormitory full of women, so I feel like it's actually not that bad.
I just mean like dirty, like it. They weren't provided the proper, like, you know, nice, decent living space. You know, like it was just like run down and they didn't keep it up or whatever.
I mean, probably.
The ladies there, I'm sure, did
the best that they could.
Yes, but I just mean like the people who own the joint.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I don't have any evidence to support one way or the other, but I'm assuming.
I just feel like.
Yeah. Also, did I say we have a photo of her? We have a photo of her. Okay.
Yeah. In this photo, she looks very skeptical. She's like, why are you taking my picture?
She's like, what?
What? I love it.
Unfortunately, even less is known about Mary. We know that she had regular communications with her family while she worked at the park and that there were no red flags that her family reported. And that's about it, besides like her face, her approximate age, and her name.
Okay.
So sometime in August of 1957, so already we have a smaller window. You know, it's not a 2-year window. It's 1 month.
Yeah.
She went out with some friends and was never seen again. Her employer did not report their missing employee, even though there was no indication that she was routinely late to work. Instead, they simply fired her without her being present and tossed her belongings.
See, I feel like, again, not a far jump to be like, that place was horrible.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, we already figured they were horrible to their employees.
Yeah, horrible employers.
Because again, it's a Harvey house, but like, this is another level. And they didn't even try to contact anyone to pick up her stuff. They were just like, she's not here, she's fired, get rid of her stuff. In fact, her family wouldn't learn of her disappearance until they came to visit her at work and they were informed that she wasn't there.
Well,
yeah. So her family was like, oh, let's go. We'll see Mary. We'll go visit. We'll, you know.
See the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. And they get to her hotel and they're like, she doesn't work here anymore. She's not here. They're like, what do you mean?
She's not been here for like a month.
Did she leave? Well, she left all her stuff here. We just threw it out. Yeah. Yeah.
Infuriating. And by then, any chance of a trail is super cold.
Yeah. No one, like, and her family would have looked for her.
Yes.
But they didn't even, nobody told them.
They didn't know. And then when they did find out, where are you going to start with that? Like, anybody who could have been a suspect is long gone.
So,
or undetectable at this point.
Yeah.
Because I still think scumbag from the hotel, like manager of the hotel or something bullshit. But like, you know.
Yeah.
Wild speculation at best.
So at this point, her family reports her missing because, again,
and then the police
no
are
one
like,
else
what?
had. So they reported her missing to the Navajo Nation because that's their tribe. And they're like, you know, who actually is going to care about us?
Yes.
Our people.
Yes.
But it was the 1950s and communication between agencies was even worse than it is now.
Yeah. Throw racism in there and you've got a right mess.
It's great. So the local police actually were not aware of the fact that she was missing. So the Navajo Nation did. The local police, like the white police, didn't know until a body was discovered in 1958 near the Grand Canyon. And then they were like, who could this be? And the Navajo Nation was like, actually, we've been trying to contact you. We have a missing woman who matches this description. But DNA testing was done, and it was not Mary. Still don't know who that was.
Still begs
I
the
don't
question,
know who that
who
was.
is this person?
They could have found out, but I was specifically
yes,
reading articles about
but in the
Mary.
moment, you're like, whoa.
Who is she? I don't know. But this did finally allow information about her, missing person report to be shared between the two agencies, because up until this point, it hadn't been. So that's what we know about Mary. And while there is very little information available about these two cases, it is undeniable that there are similarities. Two Navajo women in their 20s working at Harvey hotels in the Grand Canyon area, both disappeared without a trace.
Sounds like an MO and a comfort zone.
Yep.
And a serial killer.
A victim type.
Yeah. And we found a third body.
Mm-hmm. That matches their description.
So 3 makes it a serial killer.
Yep. Technically, that definition is debated,
loose, but still.
Authorities in both cases, surprising nobody, speculated that they both ran away from the canyon and back to their families, which makes literally no sense based on what we know about these two women. First of all, Ida was with her family. Her children were found abandoned in the Grand Canyon. And then her family back home was she's not here. And Mary's family literally showed up to visit her. If they had run home back to their families to get away from the Harvey hotels.
Why would they have showed up?
Why would their families be looking for them?
Yeah. And if Ida was with her family, don't you think her children would have been there too?
Yeah.
Come on. Annoying.
So while I'm not saying that these women met the same end, I do think it might be a possibility. And I think there are too many similarities for us to just be yeah, those have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, no.
Unfortunately.
Location alone.
Location, race.
Yeah.
Age.
Yeah.
There's just.
But even if you just need one reason.
Yeah.
Location and job, workplace.
Yeah. And I think it's so weird that they both went from being with people that they knew. So Mary was with some friends. Ida was with her children. Gone.
Yeah.
Very suspicious. Unfortunately, as we well know, cases like these often go unsolved due to a lack of reporting and a lack of effort to find the culprit. When you don't tell anybody that your employee went missing and instead you just throw her stuff out.
There's a lot to unpack.
So these women were labeled as flighty, running away from their lives, and very little effort was put into finding them.
I hate it when people go missing and they're well, they ran away. Kids, teenagers, adults, anybody who goes missing, they're well, they probably just got sick of their life and ran away. I'm how many people do you actually know? We know for a fact, not you know them personally, but that we know for a fact, we're nope, fuck it, and just left their life.
Not many.
No. I will grant you, yes, there have been people who have just been nope, can't do it, and just left. Okay, it's not as if that has never happened.
Yeah, but those people are also almost always found.
Yes, or we know where they went.
Yeah.
We know where they went. We know why they left. It's not some mystery. So if somebody is actually missing, very rarely were they nope, don't want to be here anymore. I'm just going to peace out.
Also,
bye.
What? That doesn't mean that if that's your opinion, oh, I think they just left. Why don't you prove it?
Prove it.
Why don't you prove that to me?
Them. Yeah.
Because until then, that's just your fucking hunch.
Yes. And I especially hate it when teenagers go missing and they can't, they say they have to wait 48 hours or 24 hours or something. If a mom's oh, my kid didn't come home, they're missing, and it's well, they're a teenager, they probably ran away from home, and they'll wait 24 hours. And I'm do you know the first 24 hours that a child is missing are the most crucial?
Yeah, and if this ever happens, hopefully it doesn't, but if you're listening to this podcast and you didn't know this, they don't actually have to wait. If you call 911 to report your child missing and the person on the other end says you have to wait 24 hours, no, you do not.
Yeah.
call your actual local station, get your Amber Alert out, find your kid, because you do not have to wait.
No. It doesn't matter if they're 17 or 7. Nobody has to wait.
So those are my cases.
And now I have a reignited. Yeah, that's it. Cannot talk. A reignited rage over this type of thing, which is good.
That's
Stay
what we
angry.
should have. Stay angry.
Stay angry.
Do something. Stay angry.
Stay outraged. Merch coming. Just kidding. Just kidding.
If you guys would like more information, all of our sources are linked in our blog. If you're new, we have a website. You'll hear it in our outro, but that's where all of the sources that we use for each episode can be found. Also welcome.
In the meantime,
stay safe out there. Thanks for watching. Music by Purple Planet. Art by Ruby Congrove. Logo by Catherine Dodds. For more information and our sources, head over to notsogreatoutdoors.com. For updates and announcements, make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at NSGOPod. Don't forget to subscribe on all of your favorite podcasting platforms.